Good afternoon. My name is Sheila Lamb, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 26 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses and their local communities. Our one-on-one advising services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, See Yourself in Cybersecurity, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network. We hope you can join us for our next cybersecurity webinar, Holiday Season Cyber Threats, on November 28th. We are recording today's presentation and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted, but if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box and we will address them at the end of the session. We have also enabled the live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your own meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session, Kiana Gainey. Kiana is a 20-plus-year IT and cybersecurity industry veteran and has served as Chief Executive Officer for SecureTech 360, located in Springfield, Virginia, since its inception in 2010. She's also the cyber industry specialist for the Virginia SBDC. Welcome, Kiana.
Thank you, Sheila, and welcome everyone to See Yourself in Cybersecurity. So today we'll be talking about all the things that you can do yourself, free of charge, some things that you can just put into your organization today. So I hope we have some fun today. I'm so excited. Today is part of the October Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So I know there's been a lot of webinars and information that's available. So today I hope that we can talk some about those tips that you've been receiving or hearing about so that we can make sure that your organization is safe. Next slide. So again, about myself, I've been in the industry about 20 years. But I'm really excited about my new role here because I'm a small business owner. And so I feel like this is my love letter back to the small business community. I want to be able to help you to be secure and your organization to be secure as well. Next slide. So in honor of Cybersecurity Awareness Month, we will talk about some proactive steps that you can do to enhance your current security posture today. Next slide. So here it is. The reality of cyber attacks, regardless of your size, we're all at risk, right? Small businesses may feel like they're not targets, but they definitely are, either due to the size or the perception that there's not anything worth stealing, right? Why would a hacker want my information? Well, depending on the nature of your business or depending on your customers or even sometimes the people that you're in partnership with, you become a target for a cyber attack. But what we found in the industry is that only a small percentage of these cyber attacks either go unreported or you really don't know what to do if an incident happens to your organization. The majority of cyber criminals, they don't discriminate. They definitely target any vulnerable computer system. So regardless of your posture or things that you have in place, if you are not doing simple basic cyber hygiene things, your system can become a vulnerable computer system. And as you can see with a lot of Fortune 500 companies that are on the news today, that it doesn't have to be that you have the most sophisticated system. If you have a vulnerable system and that there's some way that they can hack and get in, they will definitely take advantage. Next slide. So a lot of things that you can do today that you can put into place. One, if you don't have a security plan, that is something that you can put together. It's very similar to your business plan. It actually outlines what you have currently in your environment. So if you're using certain devices, applications, if you have a password policy, if you don't, you can create one. You want your passwords to be a certain size. You want them to be with a certain strength. You want them to be not people that can reuse the policies all the time, right? And you don't want it to be so stringent that you actually lock yourselves out, right? So a part of today, we'll talk a little bit about what type of things you can also do to have great cyber hygiene procedures and protocols. Next slide. So A lot of small businesses have been targeted because, as we talked about earlier, the sensitive data that they are using. So, for instance, if you are processing credit card information, it may not be that they want the actual information that your system has access to. It could be maybe your partnership with MasterCard or maybe your partnership with Square, right? They can use a smaller infrastructure to be able to go into a larger infrastructure, right? So I know that larger businesses have resources that they dedicate to cybersecurity, but they also have a lot of the same challenges, right? With us, we also have limited challenge. We have another challenge because we have limited resources, sometimes capacity, sometimes personnel, and even sometimes just skill. And even for myself, I know as a small business owner, we wear so many hats. And as we're growing and as our businesses are growing, and we utilize the internet for everything, right? Most of our records are digital. Most of the systems that we use, we have mobile devices in our organization. All of these can have significant amount of sensitive data that's crossing between the infrastructure. So we want to make sure that we're keeping them safe and secure. Next slide. So I know it is Halloween, so I don't want to just stick on the gloom and doom behind cybersecurity. Let's talk about some great cyber hygiene best practices that you can put in place today. As we talked about, assess the risk and identify any weaknesses. So if you have certain devices or applications within your organization and they're linked to the internet, make sure you understand how they're being protected, right? Document it, outline it, create a cybersecurity plan, right? That talks about the different security practices and policies that you can use to make sure that you're safeguarding sensitive information for your employees, for your stakeholders, and even sometimes your customers. Also, one of the biggest component that even like MGM, educating your employees. MGM's breach was not caused because it was some sophisticated attack. It was actually caused because someone did social engineering. They found some information on a page and they were able to infiltrate a large organization, actually caused a major disruption for weeks and days. And they're still spending millions of dollars in cleanup just to make sure that they can get back to their security posture. So educating your employees is very key. Make sure that you are regularly having things in place that they understand that they should be using strong passwords and that they should change them regularly. Like having the same password for over a year is not a good security practice. A good security practice would be changing it every 60 to 90 days and making sure that they are a strong password. And then if you have critical information that's in your infrastructure, make sure you establish a schedule to perform critical backups, to make sure that if there is something happening like a cyber attack, or not necessarily even a cyber attack, it could be a natural disaster. Store all those backups in a remote location away from the office. Make sure you have access to where it's at as well. And if you have the budget, make sure you're using things like two-factor authentication where possible. Next slide. So if you use antivirus software, I know I see it all the time when you get the little update that says to update your software or your applications. Make sure you're doing a regular update of all of that because it has the latest protection for you and your organization. Also, there are ways that you can check. We talked about having strong passwords. There's a resource that I use sometimes that's called How Secure is My Password? It checks the strength of your password to make sure that you are using a strong password within your infrastructure. And then also it lets you know what's the likelihood of that password actually being infiltrated. So it's a great resource that you can use and it's free of charge. We like free. Small business owners, we like things. I like to use the word complimentary. Complimentary that we can utilize and that can help us keep our organization safe. And then make sure that you are, again, talking about updating all critical software, making sure you're installing all the updates, and put together a plan to do it. It could be monthly, it could be quarterly, but make sure there's a plan that you're doing it regularly. And then with the amount of natural disasters, accidents, so many things are going on. Every day you can turn on the news and see that there's a new crisis, a new something that's going on. So ensuring that you have a continuity plan that identifies all of your critical business functions and what needs to be performed during an emergency. When I was in the military, we used to have a thing called a recall roster, where we would put together all of the point of contacts and who would be contacted in what order, you can do something very similar for your organization as well. There's some wonderful templates. FEMA, because they're in the emergency management business, they have a wider range of different templates that you can use to be able to put together this continuity plan. And last but not least, once you put together the plan, make sure you train your employees and make sure that you are regularly updating the continuity plan, because your business will change and so will sometimes the nature of things that are happening around you. And make sure that you are doing some type of like maybe tabletop exercise or some kind of way to run through what you will do in an emergency, because you don't want to wait till an emergency happens to be able to and not be prepared. Next slide. So again, we talked about mobile devices. We all use them. Mobile devices, you can create an action plan. The same thing would apply, keeping your software up to date, if using strong and unique passwords. Make sure you're only connecting to secure networks. Turn off locations when not in use. Make sure that you put some type of settings in place that you just don't allow, downloading any apps from untrusted sites, and disable any unnecessary connections like Bluetooth. If you're not using something, a good rule of thumb is just to disable them, or also make sure that when you're not in use, that they're disabled, because it's an open connection that leaves you vulnerable. And we talked about system vulnerabilities being one of the #1 reasons why hackers will probably want to attack you. Lock your phone, back up your data in case of theft or loss. I know I have an Apple iCloud account that I'm always constantly updating my content, because it's not a matter of if something's going to happen, it's a matter of when something's going to happen. Next slide. So, and then also the Internet of Things, right? Those are all of the different devices. I have them. I have an Alexa, I have a Ring device. I have all these different devices that also have internet connection. So making sure that you are regularly updating that software on those devices as well. Think twice about your device before you before you put into use or into practice. Make sure you understand how it processes information, how it stores information, and read any privacy policies or terms of use of these devices so you know how to be prepared on how to use them. Secure your network. Properly secure your wireless network if you're going to connect your internet-enabled devices. So if you have the regular router sometimes that comes with your cable device, if you have an opportunity, make sure you change that name and then change the password on there, and then make sure you only give access to people that you want to have access to it. Don't keep it wide open, because that can also create an issue as well. Next slide. One of my favorites, social media, right? Social media has become a great way that we connect to loved ones, or even how we do business, or even how we promote ourselves and our small businesses. But make sure that, as though it's as wonderful as the technology is, make sure you're protecting yourself as a small business. There's privacy side settings within the browser. Make sure that you check those settings to make sure that you understand how you're going to be using that social media. Make sure that you're not putting any personal information on your account. That was one of the reasons how MGM got the big hack, because someone had posted some personal information. And I know when I say personal information, I'm talking about like personally identifiable information, right? Just make sure that you're not putting certain things on there that someone can use. Like, let's say if you put your mother's maiden name as a way to reset your password, don't put that on the internet, right? It may sound very simple, but you'll be surprised. Don't put your dog's name if you're using that as a hint or some sort, right? Make sure that you only put information out that you don't want, that no one else can use to be able to hack you or hack any partnerships that you have in place. And then last but not least, never give out information. Social security numbers are sensitive financial information on your social media website. If a platform is asking for that information, that is not the platform for you, right? And if you do have incidents where maybe there is a type of platform that you're using as access information, make sure you're reading the terms of use, the privacy policies, and find out how they're using your information. Next slide. In conclusion, so I know I hit you with a lot of different things, but I hope that this just really helped you to kind of see yourself in cybersecurity and how you you can do things today to be able to make sure that your small business is protected. As a small business owner, as a leader, the more you're invested, I found that your employees will be invested as well. So promoting it, making sure that these healthy cyber hygiene practices are within your company, make them a part of your regularly scheduled staff meetings. If there's information that you want to share out with your employees, like in a blog or maybe some tips and tricks that you want to send them, that's also great as well. So make sure that even as you are discussing cybersecurity, discuss safe online practices with your fellow employees. And then last but not least, there are so many resources out there, but I love the one with DHS. You become a friend of cybersecurity, especially during Awareness Month, by visiting their website. And they have a plethora of information, a plethora of templates, a plethora of different resources that you can use. The SBA does a wonderful job. Another organization called CISA does a great job as well. And then last but not least, make sure that you are continuously monitoring your organization on a continuous basis. Any questions?
Okay, we've had nothing drop in yet. So if you all have any questions, I know Kiana covered a lot, but this is the time to pick her brain. So if you have anything on your mind, I would speak up.
Yes, so this is all about you. So we want you to
Yep.
leave out of here just having at least a basic information about things that you can do. Because I know sometimes it's like there's another thing. Is this going to be cost? How much is this going to cost? Well, how much time would this take for me? And there's some things that you can put in place that you can schedule your updates. So it's not something that you have to do. It's something that can come up as a scheduled, item, just like anything else that you do in your environment. And then there's some great resources that have templates. So you don't have to think about everything. You don't have to, it takes out the guesswork, things that you can just, populate information. And then there's, a lot of information out there on what to do. So things that we talked about, like continuity plans, like how do I put that together? How is there a template available for that? What are some best practices? Things like that will also help you as you're starting to put together a wonderful cybersecurity program for your organization.
And I just posted links and resources on the screen, just so everyone knows. We're going to provide these slides in a follow-up email, so you don't need to sit and copy all these down. You'll have easy access to them that you can save. So, well, we still don't have any questions. And so if no one has anything, Kiana, I guess I'll wrap us up. I know you're in the middle of a conference, so I'm sure you have things to get back to. We appreciate you taking a moment to come talk to everyone. And I'll go ahead and drop your information on the screen if I can get my slides to advance.
Yes, so that's all my information. So if you're shy and you think you go back and you have a question, you can drop me an email. We also have some wonderful webinars on some of the topics that we talked about on our website. All month long, we're doing Facebook Live, so you can join us on Facebook to also get tips and tricks that we're talked about today. And Absolutely. Then, so thank you. So take advantage. This is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I know I'm excited about it. I want you to get excited about it. And I hope and pray that this webinar and many more webinars, information that available will help you create a security posture so we don't become MGM, that we become proactive, and that we can, even if something does happen, that we have, plans in place to make sure that we're keeping our organization safe, our customers safe, our stakeholders and people that entrust us, right? So
and we had a question. If you have a second, we did have a question drop in. Sorry to interrupt. So any website security tips for small IT firms?
Yes.
And which would be a good provider? I guess maybe that was an addition to that question, which would be a good provider.
So there is a plethora of different things on the marketplace. And so I don't endorse one. I would say do your research, because depending on your organization and your organization needs, you have to find a provider that will be able to keep up with your business objectives and your customers and your clients, right? Just regular things that we've always used. The antivirus software is always good. I mean, Norton McAfee both have great products. There are some additional things out there on the market that you can use as well. But just simple things like just putting together a plan or policies and procedures. Take advantage of all of the links and resources that we gave you, because they have a plethora of templates and things that you can put together this amazing security plan to be able to help your posture as well.
Thank you for that question. And thank you, Kiana, for answering it. So I do think that's it. I will go ahead and wrap us up again, so you get back in your conference. And if there are any questions afterwards, you all, like Kiana said, can feel free to reach out to her or to our help email, and we'll get you taken care of. So thank you, Kiana, and thank everyone for attending today. As said before, you will receive an email with a link to the recording and the slides. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, please visit virginiasbdc.org/training. This webinar and other SBDC resources are designed to be used in collaboration with your local SBDC advisors. You can sign up for a free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. And we do hope to see you at our next session. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.